By 2030, there will be more than 8.5 billion people living in the world. Of these, 60% will live in cities, and 1 in 3 will live in a place with more than 500,000 people. Because of this trend, we need to fix our built world by 2030 more than ever. It will literally change how more than half of the people on Earth can live their lives. Cities already face many problems, such as how to improve air quality, make sure that transportation systems work well, find and deliver food and water safely, meet housing needs, promote social cohesion and equality, and lower the risk of flooding. New technologies, data management, and economic and political models are all playing a part. So, what are the main areas of focus? In the next 7 years, there will be a huge shift in the rankings of the world's biggest cities. This is because growth in cities in North America and Europe will slow down, while growth in cities in Asia and Africa will speed up. Based on the UN's World Urbanization Prospects, these are the 10 largest cities that will be around in 2030. 10. The City of Mexico, 23.9 million people. Shanghai held the top spot in 1950 and New York in 2015. By 2030, Mexico City will be ranked as the 10th biggest city in the world. Mexico City, the country's huge capital, is already one of the most important places for business and culture in the Americas. Since the 1980s, the city has grown very quickly. This has caused problems with air pollution and transportation systems, but the city has taken steps to fix these problems and now has a clear plan for long-term growth until 2030. In the past few years, the city's built environment has seen a number of innovations. For example, smog-eating buildings help clean up the air, and earthquake-proof skyscrapers are made to withstand the region's frequent earthquakes. 9. 24.2 million people live in Lagos, Nigeria. If the economy grows at a rate of 5.1% per year for the next 7 years, Lagos will pass Johannesburg as Africa's biggest city by 2030. Lagos is the richest city in Africa and has one of the biggest and busiest ports in the world. It is also the largest city in Nigeria. The city will have a hard time over the next 10 years because of the rates of growth and increase that are expected. It also has a much younger population than the other cities on our list. 8. Cairo in Egypt, 24.5 million people. Cairo is on track to become the world's 8th largest city by 2030, up from 9th place in 2015, even though it wasn't in the top 10 in 1950. Egypt's vast capital has an urban area that covers more than 600 square kilometers. It is currently dealing with problems with water and air pollution, as well as its famous traffic jams. Due to plans to build a new sewer system and cut down on pollution, the city will be home to over 20.45 million people by 2030. 7. 24.8 million people live in Karachi, Pakistan. There will be almost 25 million people living in Karachi by 2030, making it the first city on this list. The city is still a major cultural and economic hub and a key port on the Indian Ocean, which will help it grow over the next 7 years, even though it has a troubled history and well-known building problems. 6. Bangladesh's Dhaka, 27.4 million people. Moscow was in 6th place in 1950, with 5.4 million people living there. By 2030, Dhaka will be there. The capital of Bangladesh will go from having just under 19 million people in 2018 to having over 27 million people in 7 years. It is already the 4th most heavily populated city in the world. Even though the city is a major financial hub, it often floods and has a lot of traffic. 5. Hangzhou, China, 27.7 million people. Beijing, the huge city of China, will move up from 7th place in 2015 to 5th place by 2030. Beijing has been the country's political hub for more than 800 years. It has 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites and the modern design and infrastructure of one of the world's 4 most important capital cities. But its growth hasn't been easy. Right now, programs are trying to deal with traffic jams, make the air better, and make sure that historic sites stay open during the next 10 years of growth. 4. India's Mumbai, 27.8 million people. Mumbai, India's main business hub, is now just 1 spot ahead of Beijing, moving up 1 spot from the 2015 rankings. Over the next 10 years, Mumbai will continue to draw people from all over India and the surrounding area because it has a high standard of living and a thriving entertainment industry. 3. 30.8 million people live in Shanghai, China. Shanghai, China's biggest city, is now home to more than 30 million people, making it the 9th largest city in the world in 1950. Since economic changes were put in place in the early 1990s, there has been a lot of growth in the urban area. Shanghai is already the world's biggest container port and the financial hub of one of the world's largest economies. It will keep growing over the next 7 years and will be the world's 3rd largest city in 2030. 2. New Delhi, India. 36.1 million people. Delhi, which is India's center and most populous city, comes in second. Mumbai will not do as well as Delhi by 2030, even though both cities' GDPs will grow by 7.1% each year. And pollution is still a big problem. In 2014, the World Health Organization named it the world's most dirty city. Even though there have been many efforts, like the expansion of the metro, and steps taken to cut down on pollution, people are still worried about Delhi's air pollution levels and how they will rise as the city grows. 1. Japan's Tokyo. 37.2 million people. It's hard to believe that more than 37 million people live in Tokyo, Japan's city. It will be at the top of our list. Tokyo is already the world's biggest city, and it will stay that way until 2030, when its population will have very little changed from what it was in 2015. There are many good things about the place. It is the most important place for business and politics, has the highest GDP of any city, was rated the safest city in 2017. It is said that by 2030, the city will have made even more improvements to its transportation systems, cut down on air pollution, and raised living standards. More than that, the Global Cities Institute thinks that by 2100, Lagos, Nigeria, with its 88 million people, will have surpassed Kinshasa as the most popular city in the world. By 2075, Kinshasa was the most popular city in the world. Please subscribe to Amazing World if you like this video. Thank you for watching.